Hello everyone. In today's video, we're gonna cover some interesting topic for me. It's gonna be Firebase in Angular. It was the first time when I used it, and I just want to try how it's gonna be. And what I did, I set up Firebase in Angular. Also, we're gonna add simple login page, but for now it's gonna be just Google authentication. And we're also gonna add some guards in Angular. So let me know if it's interesting for you or no. Should we do more video with Firebase? I'm gonna appreciate it. So subscribe. Don't forget write down something in the comments. And let's go. The first thing that we need to do is to install Firebase tool, and it should be global. For this, you need to do npm install /g Firebase tool. I already have it, but after you do this, Firebase gonna be available in your command line. And as you can see, I already did this. The next our step gonna be is using Firebase command. We need to log in. It's a okay. I already log in, but here I also you can use CI, and it's gonna be automatically kind of you see this window you allow, and you successfully log in. Also, I faced an issue during this process, and one thing that helped me it was Firebase login --reauth. Because when I first time run login CI, I just haven't seen this pop up and new window with all this setup. And I really spent some time to find out what is the issue. And after I did a reuse, the window appears and I was able to log in. So the next thing that we're gonna do, we need to add Firebase into our Angular project, and with ng add Angular -fire. It's pretty easy to do. There are just few things that you need to deal with during this process. Nothing super difficult, but it's simple installation. Then would you like to proceed? Yes. So, and there are another few options. Which packages do you want to add during your setup kind of? Let's wait a bit because it's a bit heavy, but it's fine. Meanwhile, we can do the next thing. We can go to console. So there, Firebase console available for you after login. As you can see, the previous my project that I was trying to use Firebase, and I'm gonna use feedback app that we worked previously. If you haven't seen the video about this topic, you can find out the link here. So we're gonna need to add new project, feedback video, for example, continue. I don't want to have analytics or something because it's my testing. And here you're able to select few things. I would like to have ng deploy, also authentication, and I don't need anything else for now, but it's always possible to add them later on. So we're just gonna add ng deploy hosting and authentication. And I already log in with my account, so there are no create new project. Here you can create it, feedback v2, but I already trying to do this, but okay. We're gonna create it here. Yeah, feedback v2, okay for me. Okay, it was already created. That's strange, but let's run it again. It's probably because I already started setuping it in the console, and then this issue appears. So we're gonna use deploy authentication. Yes. Yes, my main account. It's strange that. Let's run it one more time. Feedback v2. Not sure why it's not updating here. As I told, it's just a second time when I'm doing this. So here feedback v2. So you can add your comments with everything. Yeah, feedback v2 is okay for me to use. So it's gonna already create a kind of hosting. Create new app. It's creating my web app. Okay. And after this, we're good to go. And also pay attention that by default, when you doing ng add, also your app module gonna be updated with a few things. So here, basic initialization, yeah. And this also there's an issue that it uses uh, two production files. So we can remove this because we don't need it for now. And so it's basic initialization with your Firebase information that you have here. And also we're using getAuth to be able do simple authentication. So there are few things that you might see here. So the next our step gonna be that we gonna add component under containers, and we're gonna call it login. It's not add, it's ng generate component containers dash login. So it's gonna be our component which we're gonna use to actually show something. And as I told you before, it's gonna be really simple things. Also, we're gonna need to modify a bit our app routing. Before it looks like that, but we're gonna need to deal with several things here. So one of them that we're gonna set up here, new page login. So it's gonna be path login, and component that we're gonna use for this login component like that. Also, we need to make sure that we have a guard on all these roads. For this, we're gonna create a child road, and path for this gonna be just empty brackets. And here we're gonna create children and put everything here almost except this one. It's gonna be like that, and our default road's gonna redirect us to feedback page. And children here are gonna have feedback and roadmap. Also, we're gonna set up here a guard a bit later, But for now, we just need to deal with our login. And in general, the setup with Firebase kind of pretty easy once you know what you need to do. So let's move on and create our authentication service. And here we go with services. We're gonna create here a new file. The name of it gonna be auth service.ts. It's gonna be injectable as usual with services. And provide in, we're gonna use root because we need it on the top level because it's related to authentication. And here we're gonna do export class auth service like that. And here we're gonna need a few things. First of them that we need to do in our constructor, we need to define a private variable and the name of it is gonna be auth fire. And for this we're gonna use auth that we gonna grab from Angular Fire auth. Keep in mind that to be able to do this in your app module, you should have this provider. And in auth, there is a lot of things that you can use. We're gonna do this with few of them. So one of the things that we need here that we're gonna use, it's gonna be login Google. It's just a basic thing, observable, and the type of observable that we're gonna return here is user credential from FireOS. And here in return, we're gonna need to use argJS from because we need to return it as observable. And here we're gonna define that sign in with pop-up, standard seen in Firebase, but also make sure that you import it from the right place. So it should be Angular Fire auth. And then here we just need to, it accepts few things, our auth service and provider. Also the resolver if needed, but not in our case. So here we're gonna, as first parameter, we use this auth fire. And as second parameter, we're gonna define new Google auth provider without anything. And this we need to add from this thing. Yes, that's correct. Let's move on to our login page. As I told, we also should try to run it in pm run start just to make sure that app is working. Also here in our authentication, we're gonna need to do a few things a bit later. Is everything is working? Localhost. Okay, login is here. And feedback also should be here. Yes, we're good with it. Let me check app routine. Okay. So with our login, let's define sign in to feedback, just some text that we need here, and div, let's do class social login. And here we're gonna define our button in which we're gonna use some our predefined classes, also button login. That's a new thing that we're not gonna need to set up. And let's do button Google. And here I also wanted to use a font awesome icons, quick guideline how to add font awesome into your app project, into your Angular project. It's simple. Just copy CDN, boom, and we need to go to font awesome. And here let's search for Google. We're gonna use this icon. So basically in style CSS, you're gonna add CDN reference to font awesome. And here we're gonna use I element. And our login page should look a bit different. Yep, here's the Google icon. And also we're gonna need a click event here and login via Google like that. And we're gonna define this thing in as a function in our component.typescript. So login via, what was the name for this? Login via Google. It's gonna be our function to call, and here we're gonna do the next. So it's private auth, and we're gonna use auth service here. And then we just simply call our function login Google. What's gonna happen? Firebase configuration not found. Okay. And the reason for this, I think, because we didn't set up here Google authentication. So for this, we're going to console Firebase your app authentication and sign in method, which is Google. Okay. Project support email, we just choose project public facing, as you can see, it's for emails and such things. So we're gonna do feedback app, save, just a few seconds. And as you can see here, authorized domain, localhost, Firebase app, the place where we deploy this thing. So we done with authentication setup for Google. It's enabled. Let's try one more time here. Are we gonna be able to use it? Okay, my account. And probably we log in, but we don't know it yet. How to check this? Let's move on. First of all, I wanted to add some styles to our button. So for this, we have our, what is it? What was the name? Button CSS. And here we're gonna set up our button login styles. We're gonna use them a bit later. So color, we're gonna use primary. It's a variable that we have here. For background, I want to use gray light. It's gonna have also border, 1 pixel solid, and button. Let's use this one. Then we're gonna have padding 0, width 44, height 44. Also border radius air 50 like that. And then we're gonna add here, and it's a button Google. How does it look? Well, border radius. It's border right, but we need radius. Should be like this. And the next thing that we're gonna do, I want to have some hover for it. For this, we gonna do Google main color, and here we can find our famous Google red. So on our background gonna be like that, color white, and border color gonna be this one. And also I want to have some transition. Let's put it all and 0.2 seconds. And I forgot to add hover state. Looks good for me. I know it's maybe not enough for a good tutorial in scope of Firebase, but it's gonna be, I don't know, might be a second part. If you like this one, then I might do a video for the second part, but definitely it's something that I want to take a look. Also, we can check in our authentication users, and as you can see, I just sign in, and here I have user UID, here some information. So it might be pretty useful for your own test purposes because it's pretty easy and fast to set up it, and to do authentication in 10 minutes, I, for me, it's kind of huge thing that we can do. So the next thing that we're gonna deal with is how to understand that we actually log in somewhere. For this, we're gonna move to our main component, app component.ts, and we're gonna do here a few things. The first of them that we need, sorry, that we need to have auth fire, and it's gonna be our auth provider from Firebase. And also what we need here is private router, and we're gonna use it to redirect user if he logged in or no. And here we need implement ng init, so on init g. And what the good thing that we have here, that on once the state of our on auth state changed, we're gonna be able to get an update here. And I'm just put console log here just to track all the things. Also, I want to add filter components. Here, I want to add another button, and I don't remember what is the right name for this. Logout should be, and here we just define button logout, and this button gonna be available once we log in. We're gonna be able to log out using it. To do this, we also need to in our auth service, we're gonna stop another function, logout, and inside of it, we're gonna do this auth file log sign out, the name of it. Not sure, logout for me sounds better, but and then in filter component.ts, we need in constructor to provide our auth service and just create another function logout and this auth logout like that, and on click we're gonna call it. And let's also add some styles for our button logout. Just small things logout. So how does it look right now? Like that. I want to use color primary hover. I have also background gonna be gray light. Let's add here transition all 2 seconds. By default opacity gonna be 0.8, and on hover we're gonna change opacity to 1. 0.9. Let's make it like that. Just some minor changes, and we need these to be flex. For this I have my own class display flex, and let's add some styles for this thing where 15 example. Yeah. So, and as you can see here, we just added that auth change, and by default it's triggered each time once we load the page. So it's here. Let's do logout. And after logout, as you can see, it's null, still null because we not log in it. So I want to do a few things in our app component. For this, we're gonna, where is it? It's here. So here we're gonna check if our user is available or no. Then we by default router navigate it to feedback page, and also if no, then we gonna redirect our user to login. Let's check this. Yep, we should be on login. So if we're gonna back here, we still on login page, and after login, bam, we're on feedback, logout. Oops, nothing happened. Why? That's a good question, I would say. But as you can see, here we have changes, but page didn't update. The next thing that we're gonna do is that we're gonna create our guard. And why do we need this? To make sure, but actually we do not need to have, we're gonna kind of replace this thing in another way in our guard. Let me show you how to do this. So we can, in our app, we're gonna create guards, and here we're gonna add authenticated.guard.ts. Basically, what is guard? It's possible to use them on our routing, and the guard is the scene that can be activated in different things. Here we have can activate with it. So can activate, can deactivate, and can load. And basically can activate is checking some information when you open the page. Can load, it's another good thing when you have several feature modules. It checking some state even before loading your module. And can deactivate, it's when you going out from current route and maybe you need to prevent user from uh, kind of do not lose his changes or something like that, and you want call out that hey, you have some not saved changes, please do this. So guard's pretty useful. It's also kind of the same thing that we need to do, that we need to inject it, and we're also gonna do this in root. And we need to export class authenticated guard implements, and we're gonna implement can activate interface. For this, we need to have a function here, can activate, and we need constructor here. We're gonna use private router, and also we need auth fire. It's gonna be Angular thing. And here we're gonna return, what we're gonna return? It's gonna be observable Boolean. So we can remove this unused stuff. And here we're gonna do return. And in Firebase, we also have auth state. And this thing is an actually observable already. So it's almost the same thing as in app components, but here we're gonna kind of have an action once something changing. But here we just check what is in our state when we open some page. So when we're gonna use this guard on, oh, where it was, we're gonna use it on, we're gonna use it here when we're trying to open this, and in our state we're gonna check if user login or no, and if no, then we're gonna redirect user back to login page. So that's the logic. And in our state we need as parameter we need to set this auth fire, and then because it's observable we're gonna use pipe here. Then we're gonna map our user to Boolean, and we're gonna do it by this. And then in tab, also another thing from RxJS, we're gonna have already our Boolean, and we just gonna check is user authenticated. And here we doing the next thing. We're gonna check if is user not authenticated, then we're gonna do this router navigate, and to login page. And we gonna need to put this guard to app module providers authenticated where you are guard. Here we are. What do you mean? Injectable is here. Got to, yeah, just forgot to do an import for this stuff. So basically, when we go to feedback, I forgot to, one moment, where is it? Approaching. And we need to use it. And we're gonna do it by CanActivate. And here we have an array of our guards, so you can multiple guards, authenticated guard, this one, I think. And let's take a look what we're gonna have. So we using this, we authenticated, log out. As you can see, we're now here, we're doing some stuff, feature, log out, boom. And it simply works like that. And what's gonna happen if we go here? We're directed to feedback page. So that's mostly it. It wasn't difficult, but as I told you, just something to start working with. And we're done for today. It wasn't a difficult thing. Maybe it looks like for you, but I don't know. I spent some time to solve all these small issues that happens all the time. And I hope it's gonna help you to prevent spending time on resolving them by yourself. So it was a good thing to do because for me, all this topic with sign in, sign out, using also some other services as Google, Facebook, and so on, a bit difficult. And in the next video, we might cover also another providers. But I also was trying to do sign in using Twitter, but I face an issue that I do not have um, some API subscription kind of that I need to have elevated account. So I'm gonna subscribe for this and try to get it to use for Twitter sign in. We're gonna see how it goes. Also, we're gonna do our custom sign in using our input fields. So it might be interesting for you to take a look. And as you know, please subscribe, leave a comment, because when I see that more than 90% of people who watching my videos not subscribed, or I want to cry. It's a joke, of course, but it's a bit sad. So have a good day, evening, and see you soon. The next video, I don't know when it's gonna be. I hope in 1, 2 days. So I'm working on it. And see you.